disasters and clashes of people and metal in the past week. But once again, we come to the cities that are on the Elba River. This one in Florence is one of the many that symbolize the peace of ancient ages gone by and the peaceless of the new age that is to come. Be aware and keep yourself at peace and let God guide your heart. So be it. Over our shoulders, you will see that symbolizes coming together, connected by the beautiful bridge onto Becky. It is also what counts as it's a river that keeps rolling and keeps flowing. The Arno River, known by all now at last. Seriously,
How delighted I am to write you. My tone is just fine. I held on to it, and I'm so grateful. I have never had nor imagined the kind of powerful experience I had when I received my tone. I don't know how I remained conscious or what moved my feet. Guess it was you, for I was truly hit like a ton of bricks and caught up and held for about 5 hours. It was a little over 5 hours. I was all there was and everything, and so beloved. I never wanted to leave that place, for I also had the awareness of where my body was and what was going on in the room. Was that multi-dimensional awareness? Yeah, on the levels the person was on, it certainly was multi-dimensional awareness. There are other levels, though. A couple times I felt the tone leaving, but because of the pictorial explanation you had given me, thank God, I was able to form its image again and call it back. After those 5 or so hours, I've not lost it again. For these weeks afterward, the top of my head remains very sensitive, as if I can feel where the tone came through, and I can barely stand to touch it. Strange. I often feel the pressure across the bridge of my nose that I mentioned to you. Then it moves up between my eyes, but it hasn't seemed to rise or remain any higher than that. Is there something I'm not doing correctly? No, those type of things are just physical phenomena that take place periodically when a person is chanting tones. And you don't look for that next time around because you may be above that. So when something happens, you go like this. It means that's past next. And you don't necessarily want it to repeat. If it repeats too much, you're not going anywhere. The first week of chanting my tone, I began to realize that I was often listening to the tone, not just saying it. And that shows progression, because when we say chant the tone, sometimes you'll find out as you stop to listen, somebody's doing it. And most of the time it's the traveler. Then I started hearing it all night long during my sleep and in my dreams, and had the realization that the tone is going on all the time. At least it seems so to me. I also realized that the initiation process and the connection to the mystical traveler is more intimate than making love. Not true. Yet similar, yet not. That's true. It is more intimate than a thought. True. Yet dynamic, creative, and infinitely thrilling. How God must love us. Hey, that's the truth. How God must love us. By the third week, I was finding less and less time to chant my tone, but this awareness had not consciously hit me. Then I was led to buy one of the initiate's meeting tapes, and things started clarifying real fast for me. I see how subtle the basic works to inhibit the meditation process without one's conscious knowledge until the habit is formed. I also see that no matter how high one has been lifted by spirit, he is not exempt from falling. And boy, keep that in mind. In fact, I'm sure it is quite a coup for the cow power when a chosen one slips into his domain. Thank you for this information. I'm glad I've learned early to be ever vigilant. Let me just explain something there that's not on the letter. When one of the chosen ones slips, they're no longer a chosen one, because the chosen one can't slip. Do you understand that? When that happens, that one of the initiates, and that doesn't mean somebody who's been initiated, because you can be initiated and not be initiate. You understand that? I mean, initiation means you are doing those very things that make you that, not that you went through a procedure or a process. But whenever one does get caught up by the negative power at the time of dissolution, see, what is death? Death. And if they go to Yama and off the negative left side and down into the path of what we'd call negativity and reincarnation, the called power will kick them back out. Because if the called power does not do that, then the traveler goes down into that realm to get the initiate. Not only that, gets everybody else at the same time. It happened 2,000 years ago when Jesus left the planet and went into the negative realms and bridged out. And Call is not about to let that happen again. When that did happen, by the way, there was a resurrection that took place. Many people who had been dead and in the recent time were seen walking the streets. It meant they had also been called forth out of the death. And at that point, the called power decided they wouldn't horse around. What they do attempt to do, though, is to get you to drop the initiation, then die, then it's fine. It's like, okay, goodbye. They're not initiate. But as long as they are that, they're not going to be bothered. Not after they die. They'd be bothered here, however, quite often. Now at the end of the 4th week, I feel secure again and eager to guard against complacency. I so desire to incorporate discipline into my body, mind, and spiritual life, and the knowledge that this tone, my first, is capable of getting me into the soul realm is the most exciting yet comforting concept I've ever been exposed to. If I never receive another, JR, I'll make this one work to the end. And that's the type of people I want as initiates, right there. It is such a beautiful tone. Since the first time I listened to it, and even until now, I receive impressions of such majesty and kingliness attached to it. Often I find that I've been saying one of the syllables a little bit different than you gave to me. Then I remember your wise words to me that you had had the same experience, but you made it because you were close enough in saying the tone. And this really comforts me. You know, JR, information you gave to me before my initiation has really been needed at one time or another since then. And I am so grateful to have your words to draw on. It isn't the words, it's the power that'll come with the words. It's what we draw on. The words are just words. Lastly, I have to tell you how very funny you are and how much I enjoy your sense of humor all the time. I just stand, look in the mirror, and tell myself jokes all day long. About a week ago, I was thinking on how my dreams had changed since my initiation, very working and busy dreams without you in them, and how I missed dreaming of you every night. But I gave it all to you and to God and accepted what was necessary now and for my highest good and went to sleep. As usual, I had a very busy working out dream. And as I got on a bus to go somewhere, who was driving the bus? You. You made a guest appearance for me amidst my working out causal realm karma. I've been laughing ever since. Thank you for health, wealth, and happiness beyond my wildest dreams. The blessings are forever. That's quite true, especially with this person. And that person knows who they are. Well, we won't tell. They're here tonight. Geez, I'd so want to tell. I so want to tell. But I won't. Well, I'm not going to. I can resist everything but temptation, and that's not a temptation. Some people are still wondering, in terms of the movement, in terms of what we would call eternal progression. What is the value? What are these tones? What are these initiations? And some people say, I've been in the movement 4 years. What's initiation? And I say, well, initiation will remove that karma from you that prevents you from knowing what's going on. And they're not too sure what that means, except if you've been around for 2 or 3 or 4 years and you're wondering what's initiation, I've wondered what you've been reading. Or maybe you've been doing like some of the people, they sleep through the seminar and say, I got on the other side. And it's like, get the initiation there too. And good luck to get it back through the Z's of sleep. And I'd like to explain a few things tonight because we have quite different people here. This life on the planet here, for the most part, has a heck of a lot of grief in it. And every once in a while, we'll come to some clear places inside of us that makes us feel like we can do anything. And so we take on the weight of the world, the weight of ourself. And then when the grief hits, because that doesn't maintain itself, it's not designed to maintain itself. People are starting to realize when I say something is not designed for that, they're watching the design carefully and they're saying, you're right, it's not designed for that, but I thought it was. But I didn't look, I just assumed, or I just thought, or I felt. But when you're saying this does this, and this does this, and this does that, my problem is I tried to make it do something else. I tried to take one tool, like a pencil, and take lug wrenches off a wheel with it. It's not designed for that. But that's a ridiculous point of view. But some things get very close, and we think, well, I'm lazy, I'll just do it this way. And it's like it won't work. And we like to think it will work. We like to kid ourselves it'll work so we can be lazy. Well, when we start entering into the spiritual realm of consciousness, and we're becoming that responsible creator where we are going to walk the high country, we must, in fact, start giving up this level. And people will take initiation not to give up this level, but to make this level permanent. And believe me, they can have it. And they're going to get it. And they're going to be around a long, long time. Not in terms of spiritual consciousness, in terms of nose to the grindstone, the shoulder to the plow, then try to get some work done in that position. It's very difficult. It's grief. The energy that we deal with in the movement can do some very beautiful things to us. We can come into the seminars, taped, live, read discourses, preparing for initiation. And we can build a certain reservoir of energy just being with the people. We can get a high off of people's high. And if their high isn't too high, but it's higher than ours, we still haven't made it. And when we come for the group energy, and that's nice, there is a beautiful energy in the group. It takes a while often to balance it out. We use a lot of music, singing, falderall. That means whatever else will do it, to balance the energy, smooth it out so people can get it at their level of getting. And they may really make some very fast progress because they're working with initiation current, not just general information current. And a person says, when they tell me they want to go for initiation, the energy shifts. We start using a special type of energy that is reaching down and grabbing the person by their bootstraps and pulling them up. And they enter into one whole heck of a lot of revelation. And they become tremendously aware, but they're still nincompoops because they haven't been initiated to even the causal level. And they're still working out the ambition of the astral level, and they get caught up in the ambition, and they want to step back, and they can last about 9 or 10 months on that energy before it starts backfiring and they have to go get an enema. They become constipated in consciousness. At this point, they've got to come to this moment where the call power is either going to smack them on the head in terms of, hey, you don't have to go back and do that. We can do it together. And the call power is constipated too. At that point is where you get a chance to find out if you can walk high road or if you're going to stay down here in the muck and the mire. About that time, the person will usually come back around and say, I'm back, I want to go for initiation. I say, fine, 2 more years. And they think that's unfair. It's like, why? It's like you probably get 9 more months and fall out again. You're getting a track record of fallout. At this point, they feel God has forsaken them. They feel everybody has forsaken them. And they want to become very malicious, very mean in their approach to other people. They want to condemn, castigate, and all the time they are cutting themselves off inside, even from their own source of negativity in terms of they can work with it. So they enter into what we call zombie approach. They're one of the walking dead, truly. They walk around, they say, I just feel dead inside. Nothing's worthwhile. Actually, that's a good place to be because you're not even building karma, so there's a chance you'll work something off by walking. At this time is usually when something of a catastrophic nature will appear. Somebody steals the tires off their car or their car. They have to then look at all the unfairness of why it happened to them. They've got to realize that God has truly singled them out to pick on them. They've got to realize that they're one of the chosen ones. Not that they care to be chosen that way. And they have to reach a place inside of them that regardless of what goes on, they keep circulating blood. They keep breathing. They keep on keeping on. And it's not an easy place to be, because every time you think about that, you die. Everything goes cold. Even the pit of the stomach goes cold. You think, oh, damn, why me? And the answer is, why not you? It's like I can tell you a lot of reasons why not me. One's because I'm me. That's not a good reason. Everybody else says the same thing. And the second reason is I can't afford that. That's not a good reason either. Nobody else can afford it. And the third one is it was brand new. That's not a good reason either. The person had good taste. They took a new one. And the fourth one is it's just not fair. And that we're right back in the circle. Nobody said it was fair. It's very unfair. But that's why it's you. How do we handle that? You moan, you groan, and you walk. And you start saving your money. And you start realizing that they're going to get the car again if you don't change the things that you had going before. Like what? Like get a chain and padlock and chain it down. Like, well, do I have to do that? No, you don't have to do anything. Walk. It's like, but are they always going to steal my car? Yeah. Why? The very thing you fear will come upon you. The very thing you fear. This is why we say, let it go. Years ago, I had a car stolen. It was, I can't remember what it was. I remember it was a Mustang. First year they came out, that'd be about 64? 64 or 5. It was probably like the fourth or fifth one on the West Coast. I remember that thing. I thought, what a horse. I remember when it turned over 500 miles, I kicked up to 80 and a cop pulled me over and said, those ponies really go, don't they? I said, yeah, but I think it's a little too fast for me. He says, well, I got a reminder for you. He's a nice guy. I only had a few days and went out one morning. I lived in Hollywood to get my car, and the car was gone. I thought, geez, I wonder where I parked that last night. It just never hits you that somebody has stolen it. Finally, I called the cop and said, I've misplaced my car. He said, yeah, you and everybody else in Hollywood gets them misplaced periodically. They said, it's been stolen. I said, I can't believe anybody steal my car. I need it to go to work. The policeman was very nice to me. He says, I don't think the guy knew that when he took it. What's funny is he said, do you know anybody out here who steal your car? And I said, the girl across the hall's got a brother, and he was here last night, and I think he'd take it. He said, do you know his name? And I said, no. They said, do you know the girl's name? I said, well, yeah. She lives across the hall. Of course I know her name. He said, what's her name? And I couldn't remember it. So we knocked on the door and found out that her brother had been there, but he'd left around 1 or 2 in the morning. I had parked it almost like 1:30 in the morning. That guy must have gone out, and when the car motor was still warm, and just backed it out and took off. That was fast. I cussed him. So if I could get my hands on that guy, I would fix him. I think he knew that. He got an Oklahoma credit card and took off to Lake Tahoe. Oklahoma credit card. 5-gallon gas can and a rubber hose. You siphon gas from their car and put it in his car. They finally found the car. They returned it. The guy, I had prayed for the car to be returned. That was my first mistake. He returned it, and the Oklahoma credit card leaked. He'd run the car without terms of oil in the motor. He'd done a lot of things. I went down to talk to him at the police station in Long Beach, and they wouldn't let me see him. I said, why is that? And they said, you threatened to kill him if you got your hands on him. I said, nah, I'd just like to let him know I'm present. The car cost more money to fix up than it was worth in the beginning in terms of grief, wear and tear, pain, heartache, sorrow, praying for it to get back. He had it for like 6 weeks. I could have gone out and bought another car 2 or 3 days later. We have to be very careful what we demand back at us as ours. We get it, but believe me, it is never going to be like it was in the beginning. Never. That car ran hot from that day on. Finally, I had to take a car dealer to court because I wouldn't pay the bill for them doing things that wouldn't stop a car from overheating, and had to take them and beat them at court, and then they went bankrupt. All because of a little Mustang that had to be delivered back to its rightful owner or else. We should let, believe me, everything go on this planet. Everything. We can use that is present, and it is here to be used. But we must always maintain mental dominion over our own beingness at all times in relationship to this. Now you might say, that's very easy for you to say if it only happened to you once. No, I didn't say it was once. That was like number one. But I knew they were going to get my next car, which is a Charger. It's when I trade the Mustang in to get a Charger. I said, what I want to do is I want to put a burglar alarm in here because I got these beautiful pipe speakers in the rear and a vibrasonic and a spiffy little number. Went and bought the bells and everything to put them on the alarm. And I'd moved over to San Gabriel area so I could be away from the high crime area. And so we decided it was late that night. The next morning we'd get out and we'd put these bell alarms on. And that night, by God, they broke in my car, stole the speakers out of the rear and the bell alarm. and broke a window to get in there. And I looked at that, and it got funnier and funnier and funnier. And I said, well, I think I'll just leave the window broken and leave the doors unlocked and tell them there's nothing in here, just enjoy yourself. You know, sit in, rest, who cares? Take the car, it's all right, it's not going to make any difference. I let it go, and the insurance company decided that they would just put everything back in. Now, you know, I thought, I'll get some more bell alarms. And we did, and we installed them too. They opened the trunk, the bells would ring. They opened the hood, the bells would ring. They opened the door, there's 2 doors, the bells would ring. Then it dawned on me after all that expenditure, folks, that that's called cure. After they've broken in, the bells ring. Well, it cost like $80, $90 to burglar-proof it. Then I realized that a guy got in there one night, heard the bells going off, and in the middle of the night, you have to run down. Be sure to take your car key that's got the alarm key for the bells, or you have to run back upstairs to get that, and then back down again to turn it off. And the neighbors are all saying, what's all that noise out there? And you're saying nothing. You're just trying to burglarize my car, and the alarms went off, and I'm protecting the neighborhood. I got everybody awake. Burglar watch. A couple times this, and I said, there's got to be a better way. Is there such a thing as prevention? And I thought, well, what I'll get is an electronic beam we'll put out there, and I have a little tape recorder in there and a little speaker, and then when they break the beam, this tape recorder will come on and it'll say, get away, get away, get away. And I couldn't park the car down underneath where it's supposed to go because it was dark, and then they could burglarize it in the dark. So I had to put down a street where they could see it, where it was an easy shot, but then I could catch them. You don't win in these things. There's no way to win. Well, just about that time, had to move to someplace else. So I moved to Baldwin Park, and then we started gathering staff together. And one night, in the midst of this tremendous rainstorm, and the wind blew and the horn started honking. And that wind kept blowing, and that horn kept honking, and the rain got down in the wires where the bells were and shorted them out. And there we were all running outside with the wind blowing and the rain and robes flying in the air, trying to stop the wind from blowing so the horn just doesn't work. It's not designed to work. It's designed to fool you and give you false security. And that's the way it is on this planet. When you're dealing with initiation to the sound current, I didn't forget. There are very specific sounds that you listen to. So that, no horns, no horn. There is a conch, or conch, depending on which part of the country you're from. But it doesn't sound like anything here. The sounds you hear do not sound like what you would hear here, except the heartbeat sounds like a drum. And that's as close as you get to it. The other sounds we hear are cosmic sounds that are part of the horn system. When you hear those, you don't get excited and run and look. It's like, oh, that's just the horn going off. Somebody bumped into it. And you concentrate on that sound, that is yours. And when that goes off, that's when you move. Up to that point, you observe, you watch, you let things come by you. You don't go off on tangents, nothing like that. Some of the sounds we hear in the astral realm, the causal realm, the bell sounds, will not sound like bells that ring for burglar alarms. They're not the same thing. We have to put in the time to discern the difference in these things we hear. We have to put in the time. I can describe it to you, and through your own creative imagination, you'll create the sound of wind or violins. You'll create it. And there's nothing that can be done about that, because you have to tell them what they're looking for. So you're always up against the idea, is that real or is that my imagination? Is that real or is that my imagination? And we have the longest time of involvement where we just put in time until we find out what is the imagination. The path of the masters, this royal road, is not necessarily a fast road. It's a sure road. And you must do all those things that bring you into the mastery of it. Because when you get to the top, you must be a master. And so you go through a lot of things, even in terms of this world. Why can't we sit closer up front in a seminar? How come we always have to sit back? Your karma's on you. Why do you care where you sit? Why don't you sit in the heart of God no matter where that is? Yes, but. It's like, see, there's your karma on your head again. Karma doesn't make sense. It's stupid. The traveler, often running out of things to do in this world, in terms of how to help you with your karma, creates a lot of it. But it's what you do with it that causes you your grief. If you see something going on, you say, there it is, the old karmic trick there, you know. You sit back and observe and watch it. Pretty soon, you're exempt from it. It's like, I don't have to do that anymore. They got me a special place up there. I can take it anytime I want to. I don't care where I sit. So you never really get it even in terms of that. If you don't care where you sit, you still get to sit where you are, the place you hated in the beginning. So to say you're neutral, to get closer, is a fraud upon yourself. It doesn't work that way. When you are truly neutral, you don't get to sit up there anyway because somebody else is there. It's not designed to work for you down here. It's designed to educate you. It's designed to give you experiences. It's not designed to give you your experience. It's designed to give you the experience that will get you into the next realm of consciousness. And the way you handle that design is to drop it as soon as you've had it. Now, I'm not saying drop your sweetheart, drop your lover. You must complete the relationship. The relationship is completed in terms of you inside. People come to me and they say, should I leave my wife? Should I leave my husband? I think I will. What do you think? I said, I think you're going to do what you're going to do. I said, no, what I really want is, can I? I said, I don't know. Can you? It's like, well, what will happen if I do? I said, well, you'll leave. I said, no, I mean, what's going to be the result of me leaving? All sorts of things. What? You're going to be without that person. You like the idea? I love the idea. Why? Oh, I hate being with them. You can't leave them because you're avoiding the relationship of completeness. You mean I got to stay with them if I hate them? No. Love them. Love them. Love them? I hate them. Stay with them. I'm not. Yes, you are. It's like, why can't I leave them? I hate them. You must complete the relationship. With them, with yourself. With yourself. It's like, do I have karma with Mary Jones? No, you have karma with yourself, and Mary Jones is coming in to help you work it. What's my karma with my children? Only what you want it to be. What's that? Loving? Yeah, I want loving children. I want loving, yeah. Then why do you pick on them, beat on them, and yell at them, and curse them? Well, someplace along there, they stopped being loving. They did. What did they do? Well, they didn't appreciate anything I did for them. Why should they? At what point in this progression on this level do we give up the loving and enter into the stupidity? What is it that happens? I tell you, it's when the courtship ends. It's when it becomes old, boring, familiar. And then we go running around to find somebody else to distract us from our old, boring, familiar, to line up another one that later on becomes old, boring, and familiar, to go find another one who distracts us. And these horizontal movements are not perpendicular. You're not going anywhere. It just looks like it to your stupidity. It's like, well, what do I do? Enter into that process that brought you together in the beginning. I lied to her. No, not that process. What made you want to lie to her? God, I loved her. I wanted her. That's the process. The lie is what's splitting you apart, because nobody can live with a lie. They can't. Eventually, it'll destroy you. The whole human race, as we know it, has been built upon a lie. And isn't that a sad commentary? Well, I've told you, but let me tell you again. Eve went into the garden, and the serpent said, eat of this, and you will be like God, knowing good from evil. She ate of it, and God kicked her butt out of the garden. He lied. Devil never has delivered. Only God has delivered. The devil tempts. That negativity inside of you cannot deliver anything. And it promises you that if you get depressed, somebody will rescue you. Or if you're being angry, somebody's going to get in there and help you. Finally, at some point, you just stop being depressed and being angry, and you start to feel good, and people come around. My, you're looking good. My God, you sound good. Let's go have dinner. When you're depressed, it's like, geez, you look bad. My God, you look terrible. Why don't you take care of yourself? I'll see you around sometime. Isn't that the way it works? You come in from work, your wife's there, she says, how are you? You say, she just shuts up and goes in the room and closes the door. You say, where's dinner? She says, But think about it for a minute. Isn't that what's going on? The person you love, they come up and you say, get out of my way. Think, I love you. You love me. We love each other. We're here together. And you smack me in the face and say, get out of your way? Well, I can do that to you because I love you. Oh, no, you can't. Go do it to somebody you hate. I bet you're not going to do it to me. And we call them first shot out. Sometimes when I'm working with my staff, sometimes they'll come on a little strong. I say, you better watch your mouth. And I don't smile. I say, maybe you've forgotten who you're talking to and what's going to happen to you if I let it come back at you. Then I raise my voice to them. They look at me and I smile and I say, but I can get away with it. I can do it because I can get away with it, but you can't because you're still caught in the levels. And I can come into your level and raise holy hell with you in your level and beat you on your level and step out and you swing at the air. And I come back in, I do it over and over and over again. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you'd like to learn how to do it, I'll show you. But to learn, you've got to get above the level. And when you do, I'll show you how to handle it. They get above the level, I show them how to handle it. I never go back into that level again. They're not going to show me again. That's a fool. I don't do that. Nope. You learn how to handle that really well. I'll see you. I'm going to the next level, and I'm going to raise hell with this one. And I know they try to say, like, why don't you come on back down to this other level, JR? Say, go try it on one of the other staff members. Go see if they'll bite. And usually the one who's one up teaches the other one real fast. And the other one comes to me and says, all right, how do I handle it? And I say, now, you got to get above it. Here's how you handle it. But I'm going to take you one above theirs. And what I want you to do now is when I show you this and you get it down, I want you to go and just lay it on them. And they do. And I sit back and they come to me. I say, don't look at me. I didn't have a thing to do with it. No way, shape, or form. I just told them how to handle it. And they handle it. I didn't say they had to go do that. And periodically I chance hold them all together in a meeting. I say, let's have a staff meeting. And I sit and I just shake. What if they all come together at the same time? What if they catch me? So they come in, I say, there's a few things I want to get straight with you guys right now. Then they shake. There's no way this level is designed to win. Do you understand that? No matter how you play the game, there's somebody who's got the game going on another level, and they're going to whack you in the head. Is there any way you win here? Is there any way to lose gracefully? Yeah. What's that? You love them no matter what they do. But you love them in terms of, I love you no matter what you do, but around me you can't do this. But go down there and just have fun. But don't bring it home. I don't care to have that. I won't have that. Now, there is an exception to that. And that's if they're giving you money to pay your way in life. Well, beggars can't be choosers. You take what you can get, and you're just thankful. It's okay, here, give me the money. Now you can hit me. Go ahead, you can take advantage of me. You paid for the rent. All right, I'll be here when you call. You bought the food. And even you look in the mirror one day and you call yourself stupid. How stupid I am. I'm just so stupid I can't believe it. Someplace inside of you say, I'm not that dumb, and you rebel even in negativity. That's right. You will even rebel in negativity. And you finally say, I'm not taking any more of this stuff. I'm not that dumb. And you leave. You can't even win in negativity here. Because some part of you says, but I know that's not permanent either. What's permanent? Nothing in these levels. You fool yourself if you think the dollar you got in the bank is going to last. If you leave it there, inflation will eat it up before too long. Then you start owing them rental on your safe deposit box before they're giving you free. And you can't take your money out because it's not worth anything, so you let them confiscate it, and then you complain about the bank. Even the banks aren't designed to win. One day, with the way we're doing our finances, they're going to collapse. They're going to go under. Don't feel happy about that. They're going to take you with them. It's designed that way. When you go down, you take them with you. Grab as many as you can. and push them below you so the sharks will get them first. It's called self-preservation. We'll sacrifice anybody at any time to save ourselves. Unless you're on a spiritual path. And that spiritual path is inside of you, residing as you, present in the form of God and Spirit. The interesting thing is nothing can be sacrificed in terms of God. Nothing can be sacrificed in terms of Spirit. It's enduring. It's omnipotent. It's all the time, everywhere. And we on this level will ask the trite questions. Did God come before Spirit? Or was there any Spirit before God? How did something come out of nothing? And we can ask all these questions, and then I say, now that you have that question, did you see the face of God in there? Like, no, I was too busy waiting for the answer. There's no answer. It's designed that way. There is no answer here. There are all sorts of approaches. There are all sorts of methods. There are all sorts of mechanisms. There are all sorts of processes. But there's no answer here. There's a series of approaches that we call answers. Could ask a question. Sure. How high is up? You say, long way. What does that mean? You only asked one question. Now you've got two going. You're dying every time you question. You say, well, how can you live here without questioning? So you're doing spiritual exercises. You rise above the level. You see it very clearly, and there's nothing to question. And as long as you don't see, you're always going to question. Am I doing spiritual exercises right? There's only one way to do them wrong. How's that? Don't do them. Is that the answer? That's a process. What's the answer? God is. God is what? That's a process. What is the process? Analyzing. God is omnipotent. What's omnipotent? More of your analyzing. Can you do it through the analytical? No, it's not designed to do it. It's designed to functionally relate here on this level. How are you? Fine. How are you? Fine. You go to bed? Yeah, let's go. Fine. That's a process. It's a functional process. What do you like to eat? Steak. Medium or rare? Medium. It's a process. After you get through, what have you got? I'm hungry again. That goes on and on and on and on. That is a horizontal movement. We are not the horizontal movement of awareness. If you're doing that, you're doing something we're not discussing. You've got your wires crossed. You have misinformation. We're doing a movement of spiritual inner awareness. So why do we meet out in a group? So we can get all the information out as fast as possible, as conveniently as possible, as economical as possible. It's not going on out here in this world. This is entertainment time. This is distracting you long enough that we can put the energy through into the soul, make it vibrate at a higher rate, and you awaken to what that is. And in that awareness, you move on it. And to tell you that's a lie, because that isn't what it is either. There are no words. But when you start doing it, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I didn't say it. You know exactly what the next word is because it's coming out of your mouth. I just happen to be mouthing it for you. So we're always and forever. I mean, people could stand out on the street and say, you people are just liars and everything else. We just have to say, you know, really, you're quite right. But we're on our way to God. Where are you going? Now you've picked on us. You're going down the street and pick on somebody else. You're in a horizontal movement. Name-calling doesn't do it. So we say, call what you will, label what you will, do what you will. Did you see God in all of that? Are you joyful in all of that? Are you feeling the inspiration of your beingness in all of that? If you are, I'll join with you. You've got a great thing going here on the physical. But if it's not doing that, and it's not designed to do that, so there's no way that it's going to, why be involved with it? Why be involved with the transient things of life? Why not get to that that is permanent, from everlasting to everlasting beyond the Word? That always is on all levels all the time. That is verily truth. Not the word spelled truth. Spell it mermph if you want to. But that is, that all things come in and out of and reside in and return to and leave from and never go anywhere. Because nothing's happening. And we distract ourselves illusionary, thinking that we're doing something great. And so you complain bitterly to me about not being able to sit where you think you should sit, and I laugh up my sleeve. Ha ha! I don't know where to find you. Where? First seat right there, thinking, I've got it made. I'm on the front row. I say, did you see the face of God in there? No, you better go to the back row. He might be back there. You better go down to some other church. He may be there. But you're not seeing him where you are with what you're doing. And it's very important that whatever you do is moving into that divine communion where you are, if you're kissing your husband or your wife or your lover, whatever term that is, it must be a divine communion. It must be that courtship, that newness, that vitality. You pick up that child and you kiss him and you love him. It must be that divine communion. It must be going on. When we come to seminars, there must be that divine communion, or there's no value here. It's just another group sitting together, sharing physical energies. That's nice, but if that's all there is, it's not enough. We have more. Berush Beshan.